Welcome to Brave Together Parenting, an empowering and truly helpful podcast for the parents of children with disabilities and all unique needs. Amanda, what would you say if somebody is stuck in comparison? Because I really think it's probably they're stuck in grief, right? But I would love to hear your take.
I think, to me, kind of the antithesis to comparison is empathy, right? And so when I think of somebody, if I find myself going to a place of oh, they have it so easy, they have no idea how hard it can be, which definitely I've been guilty of going to that place before. If I can try and be first of all, I don't know what their life is like. I don't know what their childhood was like. I don't know what they're bringing into this experience. And we know that everybody has a story. Everybody has suffering. Everybody has their own perspective. And that's all we know at the end of the day. And so I think if we can try to access empathy towards people and remember that we don't know the whole story and, their situation is hard for them at the end of the day, that's the truth, So I think trying to find empathy. And then I also think, the grief piece is huge. Just trying to allow space and self-compassion. So empathy and compassion for other people, but I also think self-compassion for ourselves that this is hard. And oftentimes I think when that comparison comes in, it's when we're looking for validation that maybe we're not getting, or we're feeling gaslit, or we're feeling oh, why does that person get X, Y, and Z, but my kid only gets this. Right. And so being able to go to your people that can validate you, that can hear you and fill your cup in that way, so that you're not feeling as tempted to compare. You're not feeling as tempted to, even if it's putting someone down in your head or, just none of that is helpful for us. None of that drama is helpful for us. But acknowledging other people's struggles and in the same way, acknowledging our own struggles, all with compassion.
I love that. We always talk about that, right, Susanna and Zoe, about, pouring so much compassion on ourselves. And
Yes.
It's understandable that we go to that place. It's understandable that we wish our kid had a different diagnosis. It's understandable that we look at somebody else and go, gosh, their caretaking life seems easier than mine. I want that instead. It's, so just pour compassion all over yourself that you're in that spot.
Yeah, I think if you find yourself, even when you said that, how did you say it? I wish my caretaking life was like that.
Yes.
Just pausing mentally and being that is understandable that I feel that way.
Yeah.
Of course I wish that. My caretaking life has been really hard. We can give ourselves what we're looking for other people to give us. And in that moment, you're just simply acknowledging the duality in it. You're acknowledging that, okay, their life looks easier. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And also today I'm feeling really raw around this, and it's not a matter of comparing or they have it easier. It's really just all of this exists together, and it's important to approach it with compassion.
Yes, I agree.
I love that. I love that compassion because it is so important. And I love what you said, Amanda, about we can give that to ourselves. We can validate our own feeling and we can allow ourselves even to sit in it for a little while.
That's right.
Right. We can allow ourselves to feel that and name it, because it's okay to say, oh, you know what? That feeling's grief. And grief is a part of, caretaking. It just is. Grief is a part of being a caretaker parent. And sometimes when we just name it and allow ourselves to sit with it for a minute, it gives us freedom to walk through it. Right. And then we have to figure out what our next step is.
Yeah.
Whether it's, finding something positive, whether it's distracting ourselves, whether it's connecting with our child, we need to figure out what that next step is. But I think it's okay for us to name it and allow ourselves to feel it for a minute.
Thanks so much for listening today. Do us a favor and leave us a review and a rating so that this podcast can get into the ears and the hearts of more and more moms. Did you know that Brave Together Parenting podcast is an extension of our nonprofit organization, We Are Brave Together? We Are Brave Together serves an international community of caregiving moms, offering support groups that are virtual and in-person, educational resources, and low-cost weekend retreats. And we have published our first anthology of caregiving stories entitled Becoming Brave Together, heroic, extraordinary caregiving stories from mothers hidden in plain sight. It will encourage and validate every parent caregiver. To join us today, go to wearebravetogether.org. Our support and sisterhood awaits you. Brave Together Parenting Podcast is for entertainment and education purposes only. It's not a substitute for professional care and should not be relied on for medical or mental health advice. The use of any content on our podcast, links, show notes, or on our website is to be done at your own personal risk. Please seek out a professional to assess your own medical or mental health concerns, because we are all beautifully complex and the content of this podcast is for a broad audience.